What are you doing?
Trying to find out what you're doing?
Just raking some leaves.
Ask a foolish question, you get a foolish answer.
Behind the wholesome family facade of America's most beloved blended family lurked scandalous romances, tragic pet deaths, hidden sexuality, and bizarre production secrets that would shock even the most devoted fans. From Academy Award winners who almost played Mike Brady to artificial grass burned by studio lights, the reality was far stranger than fiction. Here are 15 weird facts you didn't know about the Brady Bunch. Fact 1. Gene Hackman almost played Mike Brady.
Well, to tell the truth, I've got a few butterflies in my stomach.
Were you sleeping with your mouth open, Mommy?
What?
How'd those butterflies get in your stomach?
The beloved father figure of the Brady Bunch could have been played by one of Hollywood's most intense dramatic actors. Creator and producer Sherwood Schwartz had his heart set on casting Gene Hackman as Mike Brady, the patient architect patriarch of television's most famous blended family. This casting choice would have completely changed the tone and feel of the entire series, transforming the gentle family sitcom into something far more unpredictable. At the time Schwartz was putting together his cast in 1968, Hackman was still a relatively unknown actor working primarily on Broadway and making occasional television appearances. He had small roles in shows like The FBI, Route 66, and I Spy, but hadn't yet achieved the stardom that would come just a few years later. Schwartz saw something special in Hackman and believed he would bring the right combination of authority and warmth to the role of Mike Brady. However, when Schwartz pitched Hackman to the executives at Paramount Pictures, they immediately shot down the idea. The studio used something called TVQ, which was a statistical rating system that measured how familiar television audiences were with different actors. Since Hackman had very little television exposure at that point, his TVQ rating was practically non-existent. As Schwartz later explained, Paramount wouldn't even allow Hackman to audition for the part because of his low audience recognition scores. Instead, the studio pushed for Robert Reed, who was already under contract with Paramount and had built up significant audience familiarity from his starring role on the legal drama The Defenders. Reed had the television credibility and name recognition that Hackman lacked. The irony became clear just 1 year after the Brady Bunch premiered, when the unknown Gene Hackman with no TVQ starred in The French Connection and won the Academy Award for Best Actor, launching him into major stardom that continues today. Fact 2. The show had 3 different names.
Wash our hands and faces and comb our hair.
Nobody will recognize us.
You've got to do it.
For Mom and Dad. Boy, keeping them married sure is going to be hard work.
The Brady Bunch went through a surprisingly long journey of title changes before landing on the name that would become a household phrase across America. Creator Sherwood Schwartz didn't immediately settle on the perfect title for his groundbreaking blended family sitcom, and the show's evolution through different names reveals just how much experimentation went into creating this television classic. When Schwartz first began developing his pilot script in the mid-1960s, he temporarily called his project Mine and Yours. This original title directly reflected the core concept of the show, which was about 2 separate families coming together to form one larger household. The name Mine and Yours captured the idea of his kids and her kids learning to become one big family unit, though it lacked the catchy, memorable quality that television executives were looking for in a series title. As Schwartz shopped his concept around to the major television networks, including ABC, CBS, and NBC, the studio showed interest but wanted modifications made to various aspects of the show before they would commit to ordering episodes. During this development phase, the working title was changed to The Bradley Brood, which maintained the alliterative quality that Schwartz seemed to favor, but used a different family surname and emphasized the large number of children in the household. The word brood traditionally refers to a family of young animals, or children, which perfectly captured the chaotic energy of 6 kids living under one roof. However, the Bradley brood didn't quite have the warm, inviting feeling that the producers wanted for what was intended to be a wholesome family comedy. The title sounded slightly more serious or dramatic than the light-hearted tone Schwartz was aiming for with his scripts. Finally, by the time ABC committed to the series and production began in earnest, the show had evolved into the Brady Bunch. This final title combined the perfect family name with a word that suggested both togetherness and a delightful sort of organized chaos that 6 children would naturally create in any household. Fact 3. Tiger the dog was secretly replaced.
He's our brother.
Oh, look, boys, I love you and I love Tiger too, but we are not taking a dog to a wedding.
One of the most heartbreaking behind-the-scenes tragedies of the Brady Bunch involved the family's beloved pet dog Tiger, who met an untimely end that the production team desperately tried to cover up. Tiger was an important part of the Brady household in the early episodes, representing the typical American family pet that viewers could relate to and adding an extra layer of warmth to the already cozy family dynamic. During the first season of filming, the original dog who played Tiger was tragically struck and killed by a car while off the studio lot. This devastating accident happened before the completion of episode 5, leaving the production team in a difficult situation since Tiger was scheduled to appear in upcoming scenes and episodes. The dog's trainer, who was making good money from Tiger's television work, was understandably reluctant to inform the producers about what had happened to their 4-legged cast member. Instead of immediately reporting the tragedy, the trainer decided to secretly bring in a replacement dog that looked similar enough to Tiger that he hoped no one would notice the switch. The new dog physically resembled the original Tiger well enough to fool people at first glance, and initially the cast and crew didn't realize that anything had changed when filming resumed. However, the deception quickly became obvious during actual filming sessions. While the replacement dog looked like Tiger, he had received no training whatsoever and was completely unfamiliar with the television production environment. The new dog became frightened and confused by the bright studio lights, loud equipment noises, and crowd of people surrounding the set. Instead of following the trainer's commands and hitting his marks like the original Tiger had been trained to do, the substitute dog would wander around the set aimlessly and refuse to stay in position for scenes. The charade fell apart completely during a scene that was supposed to take place in the Brady boys' bedroom, where Tiger was simply meant to lie quietly on the floor. The replacement dog's erratic behavior and inability to follow even basic directions made it impossible to continue the pretense, and everyone finally learned the truth about what had happened to the original Tiger. Fact 4. The sliding glass door had no glass.
You said I'm nervous. I'm mature and I'm logical and I know I'm doing the right thing. Should I be nervous? What makes you think I'm nervous?
It's the first time I ever saw you take 21 spoons of sugar.
The Brady family's famous sliding glass door that led from their living room to the backyard patio was actually completely missing its most important component throughout the entire run of the series. What appeared to be a normal glass door on television was really just an empty door frame with nothing but air where the glass panels should have been, creating a wide-open passage between the indoor and outdoor sets at all times. This unusual construction choice was made entirely for practical filming reasons rather than any artistic or storytelling purpose. The production team at Paramount Studios discovered early in the filming process that having actual glass in the sliding door created serious technical problems with their lighting setup. The glass panels would catch and reflect the bright studio lights that were positioned around the set, creating unwanted glares and reflections that would show up on camera and ruin the carefully planned lighting for each scene. Television production in the late 1960s relied heavily on precise lighting control to create the warm, inviting atmosphere that family sitcoms required. Any reflective surfaces on the set could bounce light in unexpected directions, creating harsh shadows on actors' faces or bright spots that would distract viewers from the action. The sliding glass door was positioned in a particularly problematic location because it faced directly toward several key lighting positions that were essential for illuminating the living room scenes. Rather than constantly repositioning expensive lighting equipment or dealing with the time-consuming process of adjusting for glass reflections during every single scene that involved the door, the production team made the practical decision to simply remove the glass entirely. The empty door frame still looked convincing on camera, especially since most scenes were shot from angles that didn't emphasize the door itself. This invisible modification allowed the lighting crew to maintain consistent illumination throughout the Brady living room without any unwanted reflections or glares interfering with the warm, family-friendly atmosphere that the show was trying to create. Viewers watching at home on their television sets never noticed that the Brady family was essentially living with a permanently open wall between their living room and backyard. Fact 5. A burned artificial grass spot was hidden after Tiger disappeared from the Brady Bunch following the tragic replacement dog incident. Viewers might have wondered why the family's doghouse remained prominently displayed in the backyard for the rest of the series. The answer reveals another behind-the-scenes production mishap that the crew had to creatively cover up using the leftover prop from their departed four-legged cast member. The Brady family's backyard was constructed entirely on a soundstage at Paramount Studios, which meant that every element of the outdoor space had to be artificially created to look like a real residential yard, instead of using real grass, which would have been impossible to maintain under hot studio lights and constant foot traffic. The set designers covered the ground with artificial turf that could withstand the demands of television production. During one of the filming sessions, a heavy studio light that was positioned above the backyard set accidentally fell and crashed down onto the artificial grass surface. The intense heat from the powerful bulb immediately burned through the synthetic material, creating a large, unsightly hole that couldn't be easily repaired or hidden with simple touch-up work. The damaged area was too big to cover with furniture or other small props, and replacing the entire artificial turf surface would have been expensive and time-consuming. The production team needed a quick and cost-effective solution that would allow them to continue filming backyard scenes without the burned spot being visible to viewers. Tiger's wooden doghouse, which was still sitting on the set, even though the dog was no longer part of the show, turned out to be the perfect size and shape to completely cover the damaged area of artificial turf. Rather than removing the doghouse and dealing with the burn damage, the crew simply decided to leave it in place permanently. This practical solution allowed them to continue using the backyard set for outdoor family scenes without viewers noticing the production accident underneath. Years later, Susan Olsen, who played Cindy Brady, revealed this behind-the-scenes secret, explaining that the doghouse stayed put specifically because it was hiding the melted spot where the light had fallen and burned through their fake grass. Fact 6. Cast members secretly hooked up.
Be my guest.
Wow! I just found something out.
What is it?
Everything's much bigger.
Behind the wholesome family atmosphere that the Brady Bunch projected on television, the teenage actors playing the Brady children were navigating typical adolescent romantic feelings in a rather unusual situation. Since they spent long hours together on set and were isolated from normal teenage social interactions, the young cast members began developing crushes and romantic relationships with each other despite playing siblings on screen. Susan Olsen, who played the youngest Brady daughter Cindy, later revealed the extent of these behind-the-scenes romances when she admitted that many of the Brady kids took turns hooking up with each other during the show's 5-year run. As she explained it, the cast led a somewhat sheltered life for part of each year while filming, so if there was anybody to develop feelings for or try dating, it would naturally be their fellow cast members who were going through the same unique experience. The most well-documented romance was between Barry Williams, who played oldest son Greg, and Maureen McCormick, who portrayed eldest daughter Marcia. Their off-screen attraction became so obvious during filming that it actually affected their on-screen performances in scenes where they were supposed to act like brother and sister. Creator Sherwood Schwartz later wrote about watching them film a scene together on a bed, noting that instead of the innocent sibling interaction the script called for, the two teenagers were clearly attracted to each other and the romantic tension was captured on camera. Christopher Knight, who played middle son Peter, also had a brief romantic relationship with Eve Plum, the actress who played middle daughter Jan. Their romance included typical teenage dating activities, though it came to an abrupt end one evening when police interrupted them during a romantic moment in Knight's pickup truck. The awkwardness of that incident effectively ended their off-screen relationship. These romantic entanglements created an interesting dynamic on set, where the actors had to switch between their real-life teenage feelings and their fictional family relationships, all while maintaining the innocent, wholesome image that the show was famous for presenting to American families. Fact 7. Robert Reed's perm was accidental. Mike Brady's distinctive curly hairstyle that appeared in the later seasons of the Brady Bunch was never supposed to happen and came about through a completely unexpected chain of events during the show's famous Hawaii episodes. Robert Reed, the actor who played the Brady family patriarch, had been maintaining straight hair throughout the early seasons of the show by using chemical hair straightening treatments that were popular among men during that era. For the first 3 seasons, Reed's hair appeared consistently straight and neatly styled, fitting the conservative look that was expected for a television father figure in the late 1960s and early 1970s. Reed had naturally curly hair, but like many actors of his generation, he used chemical relaxers to achieve the sleek, professional appearance that casting directors preferred for leading men roles. When the entire Brady Bunch cast traveled to Hawaii to film the memorable 3-part episode arc that would become some of the series' most popular shows, Reed continued his normal hair care routine without considering how the tropical climate might affect his chemically treated hair. Hawaii's high humidity and warm, moist air created the perfect conditions for his hair's natural texture to reassert itself despite the chemical straightening treatments he had been using. The combination of the humid Hawaiian climate and the weakened state of his chemically processed hair caused Reed's natural curls to emerge dramatically and permanently. Florence Henderson, who played his television wife Carol Brady, later revealed that the cast and crew were surprised when they discovered Reed's hair transformation during their Hawaiian filming location. The humidity had essentially undone months of chemical straightening treatments in a matter of days. Rather than trying to fight against this unexpected change or attempt to re-straighten his hair while they were still filming in the tropical environment, Reed decided to embrace his newly revealed natural texture. The curly hairstyle became Mike Brady's signature look for the remainder of the series, and it was so associated with the character that later Brady Bunch reunions and movies made sure to recreate Reed's accidental perm as an essential part of the Mike Brady appearance. Fact 8. Barry Williams had a crush on TV mom.
Alice! Oh, dear. What in the...
Anybody got 3 coins for the fountain?
Alice, get a towel, would you please?
One of the most awkward behind-the-scenes situations on the Brady Bunch involved Barry Williams, who played eldest son Greg Brady, developing genuine romantic feelings for Florence Henderson, the actress who portrayed his television mother, Carol Brady. This teenage crush created an uncomfortable dynamic on set, especially considering that Henderson was 20 years older than Williams and was supposed to be playing his stepmother in their fictional family. Williams was only 14 years old when the Brady Bunch began filming, while Henderson was 35 and an established Broadway performer with years of professional experience. Despite the significant age gap and their family relationship on screen, Williams found himself genuinely attracted to Henderson's warmth, talent, and sophisticated personality. In his memoir titled Growing Up Brady, Williams openly discussed these feelings and explained that his attraction wasn't purely physical, but stemmed from wanting to spend more time with someone he admired and respected. The situation became even more complicated when Henderson, who was known for her kindness and maternal instincts toward all the young actors on set, agreed to accompany Williams on what could only be described as a dinner date. Understanding that Williams was dealing with normal teenage emotions in an unusual situation, Henderson graciously accepted his invitation to go out for a meal together, treating the occasion with the sensitivity and maturity that the awkward situation required. Williams later clarified in interviews that he never expected anything inappropriate to develop from his feelings, explaining that he simply wanted to spend time with Henderson outside of their work environment. Henderson handled the situation with remarkable grace, allowing Williams to experience what felt like a real date while maintaining appropriate boundaries and never making him feel embarrassed about his natural teenage emotions. This crush became one of the most talked about Brady Bunch behind-the-scenes stories, though both Williams and Henderson always discussed it with humor and affection in later interviews. Henderson's patient and understanding response to Williams's adolescent feelings demonstrated the genuine care she had for all the young actors who worked on the show. Fact 9. The opening credits created a new film technique.
Hey, something wrong, Alice?
Alice, I've told you, peel the onions under the cold water.
What, miss a good cry?
The Brady Bunch's instantly recognizable opening credit sequence, featuring 9 family members looking at each other from their individual squares in a tic-tac-toe grid pattern, actually introduced television audiences to a groundbreaking filmmaking innovation that would influence countless other shows and movies. The technique behind this famous opening was called the multi-dynamic image technique, created by Canadian filmmaker Christopher Chapman, and it was so new and visually striking that it had never been used in television before the Brady Bunch premiered. Chapman originally developed this multi-dynamic image technique for his 1967 film called A Place to Stand, which was created for the Ontario Pavilion at Expo 67 in Montreal. His innovation allowed multiple separate images to be displayed simultaneously within a single frame, with each image moving and changing independently while still being part of one cohesive visual presentation. The technique was so impressive that it won Chapman an Academy Award for Best Live Action Short Subject. When the Brady Bunch needed an opening credit sequence that would introduce all 9 main characters in a memorable way, the show's creators decided to use Chapman's revolutionary technique to create their iconic grid layout. Howard Anderson, who worked on the show's special effects, was responsible for filming each cast member individually and then combining all 9 separate videos into the synchronized presentation that viewers saw every week. The Brady Bunch opening became so famous and widely recognized that the multi-dynamic image technique itself became known throughout Hollywood as the Brady Bunch effect. This name stuck because the sitcom's opening credits were seen by millions of television viewers every week, making it the most visible and popular example of Chapman's innovative filming method. The technique's influence extended far beyond the Brady Bunch, appearing in the opening credits of other television shows like Mannix, Barnaby Jones, Dallas, and The Bob Newhart Show. Even decades later, modern TV series like 24 continued to use variations of Chapman's multi-dynamic image approach, proving the lasting impact of what started as the Brady Bunch's creative solution for introducing their large cast. Fact 10. Maureen McCormick was in a real car crash. One of the Brady Bunch's most memorable episodes featured Marcia Brady getting hit in the nose by a football and dramatically crying, "Oh my nose." But the timing of this episode created a bizarre real-life coincidence for actress Maureen McCormick. Just 1 week before filming began on this famous episode, McCormick was involved in an actual car accident that left her with genuine facial injuries that needed to be concealed with makeup during production. The episode in question, titled The Subject Was Noses, aired during the show's 4th season and became one of the series' most quoted and parodied moments. In the script, Marcia's nose injury was supposed to be the central plot point, with the character worrying that her swollen nose would ruin her chances of being crowned queen at an upcoming school dance. The storyline was meant to be a light-hearted exploration of teenage vanity and self-image concerns. However, when McCormick arrived on set to begin filming, she was dealing with real bruises and cuts on her face from her recent car accident. The makeup department had to work extra carefully to cover her actual injuries while simultaneously creating the artificial swelling and bruising that the script called for Marcia's character to have. This created the unusual situation where McCormick was wearing makeup to hide real facial trauma while pretending to have different facial trauma for her fictional character. The irony of the timing wasn't lost on the cast and crew, who found it remarkable that their actress was dealing with genuine facial injuries during the exact week they were scheduled to film an episode about a facial injury. McCormick later spoke about how strange it felt to be acting worried about her character's appearance while actually having legitimate concerns about her own healing process from the car accident. Despite the challenging circumstances and the extra work required from the makeup team, filming proceeded as scheduled, and the episode became one of the most iconic Brady Bunch moments, with viewers never suspecting that the actress was hiding real injuries beneath her stage makeup. Fact 11. The Real House address was wrong.
It's a normal male reaction, Dad. For your generation. I once saw a movie where a man was getting married. He was so nervous he forgot to put his pants on.
The Brady family's home address, as mentioned on the Brady Bunch, was completely fictional and didn't match the actual location where the famous house exterior shots were filmed. Throughout the series, the Brady family was said to live at 4222 Clinton Way, an address that Carol Brady mentioned in dialogue during one of the episodes when giving directions or identifying their home to visitors and delivery people. However, devoted fans who wanted to visit the real Brady house discovered that this address was purely made up for the television show. The actual house that served as the exterior filming location for all those iconic establishing shots was located at 11,222 Dilling Street in Studio City, California. This address discrepancy was typical of television production practices, where shows often created fictional addresses to maintain some privacy for the real homeowners and to avoid encouraging too many curious visitors. The house on Dilling Street was only used for exterior shots that established the Brady family's neighborhood and showed characters arriving or leaving the property. None of the indoor scenes were ever filmed inside this real house, since all the interior Brady home scenes were shot on carefully constructed sets at Paramount Studios. The family who actually lived in the Dilling Street house had no connection to the show beyond allowing their property to be photographed for these exterior establishing shots. This address confusion became more widely known when the house gained renewed fame in recent years and was eventually purchased by HGTV for renovation purposes. The network transformed the interior of the real house to match the Brady family's fictional home layout, finally bringing together the exterior location with replica Brady interiors for the first time in the show's history. The mayor of Los Angeles even temporarily renamed Dilling Street to Clinton Way for one day during HGTV's renovation project, creating a brief moment when the real address actually matched the fictional address that had been mentioned on the show decades earlier. Fact 12. Robert Reed directed episodes secretly.
Would you like someone to tattle on you?
That's no fun.
Well, then why should you tattle on other people?
'Cause that is fun.
Robert Reed's constant complaints about the Brady Bunch scripts and storylines became such a persistent problem for creator Sherwood Schwartz that he eventually found a creative way to keep his leading man happy while maintaining peace on the set. Rather than continuing to argue with Reed about every script change and story direction, Schwartz decided to give the classically trained actor a chance to put his money where his mouth was by allowing him to direct some episodes himself. Reed had been vocally critical of the show's writing from the very beginning, believing that his Shakespearean theater background and dramatic acting training were being wasted on what he considered to be silly family sitcom material. He frequently sent detailed memos to Schwartz suggesting script improvements and complained that the storylines were too unrealistic and childish for a show that was supposed to represent modern family life. Schwartz rarely implemented Reed's suggested changes, but he recognized that the actors' frustration was affecting the overall atmosphere on set and potentially impacting Reed's performance as the Brady family patriarch. As a compromise solution, Schwartz quietly allowed Reed to step behind the camera and direct several episodes throughout the series run, giving him the creative control he had been demanding while keeping him occupied and satisfied. Reed's directing work was done somewhat discreetly, and most viewers never realized that the actor who played Mike Brady had also taken on directing responsibilities for the show. However, careful viewers who pay attention to the closing credits of certain Brady Bunch episodes can actually spot Reed's name listed among the directing credits, revealing his hidden role in the show's production. This arrangement worked well for both Reed and Schwartz, as it allowed the actor to exercise his creative impulses and gain directing experience while reducing the tension between him and the show's creator. Reed was able to implement some of his ideas about how the show should be made, while Schwartz maintained overall control of the series and kept his star actor reasonably content with the arrangement. Fact 13. The Brady set was reused for other shows.
Without all those last-minute trips to the kitchen to stave off starvation until morning?
Cries in the night for water. Somehow going to bed turns every kid into a dehydrated camel.
The iconic Brady family living room, with its distinctive orange and green color scheme and famous split-level staircase, didn't just serve as the backdrop for wholesome family conversations throughout the Brady Bunch's 5-season run. Because television studios were always looking for ways to save money on production costs, the Brady living room set was cleverly repurposed and transformed for use in several other popular television shows that were also being produced at Paramount Studios during the same time period. During the 3rd season of The Brady Bunch, the production team at Paramount made the living room set available for use in a 6th-season episode of Mission Impossible called Double Dead. The set designers completely transformed the familiar Brady family space by removing the staircase, adding tropical plants and decorations, and redressing the entire area to look like a villain's luxurious Hawaiian hideout. Despite all these dramatic changes, the basic layout and structure of the room remained the same, and sharp-eyed viewers who were familiar with both shows could recognize the underlying Brady architecture. Remarkably, all of the original Brady furniture remained in its usual positions during the Mission Impossible filming, including the family's television set and other recognizable pieces. The production team simply worked around these familiar elements while adding their own props and decorations to create the completely different atmosphere that their spy drama required. The Brady living room set also appeared in the final episode of another Paramount production, the detective series Mannix, in an episode titled The Danford File. For this appearance, the set was modified differently than it had been for Mission Impossible, with the production team adding a wall to cover up the fireplace and removing the brick wall that normally appeared in front of the Brady family's front doors. In addition to using the living room, the Mannix episode also filmed scenes on the Brady family's patio set, giving viewers a chance to see multiple familiar Brady locations transformed for use in a completely different type of television show. Fact 14. The backyard was padded safety carpet. The Brady family's lush green backyard that appeared in countless outdoor scenes throughout the series was actually a carefully constructed safety measure designed to protect the young actors during the physical comedy moments that were common in family sitcoms. What television viewers saw as a beautiful residential lawn was really green felt carpet padding that had been installed across the entire outdoor set at Paramount Studios to create a soft landing surface for the child performers. Since The Brady Bunch featured 6 young actors who were frequently involved in physical comedy scenes, playground activities, and outdoor games. The production team was naturally concerned about the safety risks that came with having children running, jumping, and potentially falling during filming. Traditional artificial turf or hard studio flooring would have presented genuine injury risks if any of the kids took a tumble while cameras were rolling, so the set designers came up with this creative solution. The felt carpet padding was thick enough to provide real cushioning if any of the Brady children fell down during their outdoor scenes, but it was also designed to look convincing as grass when filmed from the appropriate camera angles and distances. The green color and texture were chosen specifically to create the illusion of a well-maintained suburban lawn that would fit with the Brady family's middle-class lifestyle and tidy home environment. This safety feature became most noticeable in episodes that involved more physical activity, such as the episode titled Bobby's Hero from the show's 5th season, where the padding's artificial nature was more apparent to viewers who were paying close attention to the ground surface. The material had a slightly different appearance and texture than real grass, especially when characters were lying on it or when the camera angles showed it up close. The padded carpet solution allowed the Brady children to participate in all kinds of outdoor activities and physical comedy without the production team having to worry about serious injuries from falls or accidents during filming. Fact 15. A failed spin-off featured interracial adoption. During the final season of the Brady Bunch, the show's creators attempted to launch a groundbreaking spin-off series that would have been far more socially progressive than anything else on television at the time. The episode titled Kelly's Kids served as what television producers call a backdoor pilot, meaning it was designed to introduce new characters and test audience reaction to a potential new series while appearing to be just a regular Brady Bunch episode. The story introduced Ken and Kathy Kelly, played by Ken Barry and Brooke Bundy, as friends and neighbors of the Brady family who had made the unusual decision to adopt 3 boys from a local orphanage. What made this adoption story particularly remarkable for 1974 television was that the 3 boys were of different racial backgrounds. One was white, one was African American, and one was Asian American. The premise was that these 3 children had been best friends at the orphanage and didn't want to be separated when they were placed with families. Creator Sherwood Schwartz had deliberately crafted this concept to push boundaries and address real social issues that were rarely discussed on family television shows. The idea of interracial adoption was extremely uncommon in mainstream media at the time, and featuring a racially diverse family as the central characters of a sitcom would have been revolutionary for network television in the mid-1970s. Interestingly, one of the 3 adopted boys was played by Todd Lookinland, who was the real-life younger brother of Mike Lookinland, the actor who played Bobby Brady. This casting choice created a connection between the potential new series and the established Brady Bunch family that audiences already knew and loved. The Kelly's Kids episode was specifically timed to coincide with television networks announcing that prime time would begin 30 minutes earlier, creating a need for more family-friendly programming to fill the new time slots. Despite this perfect timing and the progressive nature of the concept, no network chose to pick up Kelly's Kids as a full series.